Hello, everyone. Welcome to Save News TV. First of all, let me begin by apologizing to you chatters because I have been not here to do the fireside chats. It's been a crazy busy. I've been doing, the Johnny Depp trial thing, and it just never ending. But so much is going on in the world and everything that we have to get back to our fireside chat. So, chatters, we're back. So, anyway, again, I apologize for being neglectful for that. But tonight we have so much stuff to cover. I don't know whether we're going to cover it all, but the topic, as you see in the description, that it is called Mail Order President Return to Sender. One thing that, and we're going to cover that will be a lot because it appears that the Democratic Party is trying to return their mail order President Biden back to sender for 2024. But we're going to get into that more deeply. And we're also going to hopefully cover the Biden's, of course, blaming everyone for why inflation, why the gas prices are high, and everything like that. We're going to watch a little video on that. And also, Biden's administration holding school lunch hostage to force schools to accept certain policies, and also some other things if we get an opportunity to get to that also. But first of all, we're not going to go, there's so many articles. We're going to read a little bit and then we're going to discuss. So anyway, let's get to it. The New York Times did an article that many Democratic lawmakers are concerned about Biden's leadership and feel that the U.S. is falling apart. Are they trying to return mail order President Biden to sender? Let's check it out. Okay, the New York Times report reveals Saturday that many Democratic Party officials have little faith in President Biden can keep his party afloat amid mounting crisis. Well, we have to look and see where the crisis come from. These crises just didn't pop up out of nowhere. These were a result of his policies. But let's keep going because the Democrats are trying to return to sender. That's all I'm just saying. The piece also implied that the January 6th committee is Biden's last chance before midterm elections to persuade swing voters who are more fixated on inflation. Okay. I am, I'm in the middle. I am an independent and I vote for the person who I feel is going to do the best job for the nation, for me, the nation, and everything. So needless to say, these policies came from Joe Biden. And if you voted for him, then, you can correct the situation. You can do a correction. Midterms are coming. You need to get certain people out of office because, they all vote in a block. They don't have an independent thought pattern. They all vote together. If he says he wants to do this, they all vote together. So there's only one way to start disseminating this issue, and that is return all of them to sender. But anyway, okay. So as far as I'm concerned, yes, I'm concerned with inflation because it affects you every day. All of us are. It affects us every day. We go to the gas station, you go to the store, you try to buy groceries, whatever you're trying to do, inflation is there. We are in a recession. I don't care what they say. They're trying to delay announcing it, but that's where we are. We're in a recession. Okay. According to reporters Reed Epstein and Jennifer Medina, many Democratic lawmakers and party officials are venting their frustrations with President Biden struggled to advance the bulk of his agenda, doubting his ability to rescue the party from predicted midterm trouncing and increasing viewing him as an anchor that should be cut loose in 2024. Oh, chatters. Is this what we're reading here? The Democrats want to cut him loose in 2024. They trying to send the mail order president back to sender. They don't want him no more. This is from the New York Times. You know, this is lifted up from the New York Times article. Okay, so Democrats are saying we don't want him no more, and I'm going to tell you all why do we see this happening, and I'm just going to tell you certain things to look for. When the mainstream media, they protect those they want to protect, and when you start seeing them throw someone underneath the bus, then what is happening is that they are getting ready to get rid of you. Last week, we beginning to see mainstream media covering stories on Biden's son, all the drugs and the this and the that, and him having a gun. We started seeing these articles pop up in mainstream media. So what they're doing now is they are getting ready to cannibalize themselves with Joe Biden. They're getting rid of him, and they are going to get them another. Hopefully, they're going to get them another person. But as far as if you look at the mainstream media, you start seeing negative articles, just like this one coming from the New York Times, start popping up against Biden. You know he's in trouble. They're getting ready to ditch him, and ditch him fast. Let's get back to the article. And talking about his inability to get his policies done. We don't want any more of his policies. We see what his policies are doing to this nation. He sent billions of dollars over to other nations. Over to the Ukraine and other places, and yet and still people here can't even afford food. They're you go in. One thing about it, traffic is less. I got to say that, because gas is so high. You have to strategize your trips. If you go into the grocery store, you better sit down before you leave your house and write out everything in its path, whatever you need to go. You go to the store today, item is $5. You go to the store, that morning, you go in the afternoon, it's $5.50, $6. That's how fast prices are raising. And that's how fast inflation is going. But anyway, let's get it. So they want to cut him loose in 2024. They're done with him. Done. And as you will see coming up, just watch the mainstream media. They're getting ready to start throwing all kinds of negative press towards Joe Biden, because they finished with him. They finished with him. And if you don't believe that this is happening, just think about Como. Okay? They did the same thing to him. They get ready to do it to Joe Biden. Okay? Biden has been polling poorly, and there are reports that he and his White House staff are frustrated with the obstacles in front of him, including increasingly negative media coverage. See? They're telling you now. There's increasing negative media coverage. And it's not from the right. It's not from the conservatives media. They've always, they do their little thing to the left, and the left do their little thing to the right. But when you see the left mainstream media start attacking him, you know that his days, as far as in office, his political career, that it's done. They're getting ready to dog walk him. The report cited nearly 50 Democratic officials and disappointed voters who are alarmed about Republicans' rising strength and extraordinary pessimistic about an immediate path forward under the Biden administration. Okay, so why wouldn't that be encouraged, Republicans? people see what is happening, and people not blind. He came, I'm gonna do away with student loans, and then he walked that back. He's just a liar. Just is. Not just student loans. You go to the gas station, he's talking about, and we're going to get into that part more, him blaming Russia for increasing gas prices. No, boo. No. We ain't forgot. We don't have amnesia. What happened was, when he got in office his first day, he was like, I'm going to get rid of these policies. I'm going to get rid of this. America was on track to be independent of other nations, to have oil, gas. He shut down the pipeline. Thousands of people without jobs, thousands of people unemployed behind it. Okay, if the pipeline was open, then we wouldn't be in this situation. But he signed the executive order. Remember that. There is low enthusiasm from the Biden's base and worry from the party officials about the president's leadership, his age, and his capacity to take the fight to former Donald Trump a second time, the Times wrote. No. Even if Trump doesn't run, it's not about Trump. They always going to try to make it about Trump so they can scare the people on the left to vote for them. It's not about Trump. It's about his policies. People are not crazy. They understand when they drive up to the gas station, the gas prices. They understand when they go to the grocery store, the grocery prices. They understand, parents understand when they go to the store to try to feed their babies, that there's no formula on the shelves. Now there's also a shortage of feminine hygiene products. So when they go to the store to try to get things for their monthly situation, for our monthly situation, then they're not there. Shortages. People see that. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. People see that this administration is not working and their policies are not working. He's more concerned about, let me send billions upon billions of dollars, your tax dollars, over to Ukraine and other places, and open the borders and bring people in, than he's worried about the American citizens. But when it's time to vote, then they want to go blame other people. Okay? That's the way that works. But okay, let's get back to it. It quoted Stephen, a Democratic National Committee member from Florida, who said, to say our country was on the right track would flagrantly depart from reality, and urged him to announce he wouldn't run again shortly after midterms. Okay. Now, this is the Democratic National Committee member that is saying what Joe Biden isn't doing, the mail order president, isn't working. And for him to say after midterms, I'm not going to run in 2024. They are going to walk him down. They do not want him. They're returning to sender. What's that song? Return to sender. That address unknown. No such number. No such home. Okay, his home isn't going to be the White House again, because the Democrats going to make sure of that. So, they're done with him. All right. It says the piece also depicted this January 6th committee hearing as perhaps the last best chance before the midterms to break through the persuadable swing voters who have been more focused on inflation and gas prices. Baby, let me put this to you like this. January 6th, 2020 is January 6th, 2020. We are not concerned. We're concerned, but we're not concerned because of the fact that when you go to the gas station and when you go to, purchase items, eat out, do whatever, inflation, that is paramount to the January 6th committee. I know this is breaking news for you. But People are more concerned about their personal life day to day than that. And see, that's the problem. You all focusing on the wrong things. But continue. Go ahead. Do you. All right. Let's get back to the article. Otherwise, all that Biden has, after repeated failures of his administration to pass big ticket legislation on signature Democratic issues and halting efforts to use the bully pulpit of the White House to move public opinion, is sagging approval ratings, and a party that, as much as anything, seems to feel sorry for him. Now, this is from the Democratic committee member, national committee member saying this. This is not from the right. This is from his own party. And I have to commend the Democrats. You have to realize, you know when something failed, it failed. It failed. So, you just dump it and move on. It's just like trash, Sometimes, something, don't fit anymore. You've gained weight, you lost weight. It doesn't fit properly anymore. So what do? You get rid of it. And that's what they're doing with the mail order president. Epstein and Medina acknowledged that Democrats have been struggling to explain away a series of calamities for the party, including inflation rates unseen in 4 decades. Now, he's been in office 2 years. 2 years. January 2021, he got in office. Year, 2. And this is where we're at. Inflation higher than it's been in 40 years. 4 decades, 40 years. Surging gas prices. Why are they surging? Again, we're in with his executive order, undoing everything. It is a lingering pandemic. You ain't heard nothing about CV. No, it's like it magically went away. From, when his running stance in 2020, I'm not going to make it mandatory for you to get something. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Then he, get in the office, again, lying, threatening your jobs if you don't get it done. And now, every day before we were hearing about the rates of CV, people contracting, people demise. Now you haven't heard anything. They don't even keep statistics anymore, do they? If they do, they're not publicizing like it was every day. Every time you turn on the news, that's what it was. It was a fear tactic, so they can get in office. So it is fear. So here we go again. Now they ready to get rid of him and try to do some more fear. But okay, let's finish. A Supreme Court posed to end the federal right on an abortion. Okay, so they're just like, dude, you're failing, and we as Democrats are going to get rid of you. That is what they're saying. That's what the Democratic National Convention member is saying. And I'm sure he speaks for a lot of them. But see, their problem is, and this is their problem, they can try to distance themselves from them. But see, this is the thing. They don't split votes or whatever. Everything they say, they run like a pack, like they like one mind, not one part from, voting, don't care about what your constituents want, whatever, or don't even care about, this might not be the best thing. If one vote for it, all of them do. So that's why you got to break things up. You got to break them up. You got to break them up. You got to break them up at the midterm, and you got to break them up later. Okay. Obama chief strategist Daniel Axelrod told the paper that Biden doesn't get the credit he deserves for some of his successes, including navigating the pandemic. Let me get a sip of coffee on this. Let me get a sip. uniting NATO against Russia. What they got to do for us? We paying the bill. And restoring decency and decorum to the White House. So what? So what? These leaders, even Mexico president, refused to come to the summit. He ain't no decency and decorum. These leaders aren't thinking about him. Brittany Grenier is still in the prison in Russia, 18 more days, just announced today. They don't respect him. But okay, if you say this is your statement. However, he admitted the president would be closer to a 90 than 80 at the end of his second term, and that would be a major issue. So see, they give you a little soften the blow. Well, he doesn't get credit for this, but then here come the banger. He's gonna be almost 90 years old at the end of his second term. Y'all need to get rid of him. Polling shows Biden is at a low point with Democratic voters, with one Associated Press poll showing him at just 73% approval with them. I'm sure it's less than that. I'm sure, but okay, that's your poll. Epstein and Medina rounded out the report with quotes from various party members expressing doubt about Biden's future. Texas State Representative Jasmine Crockett stated, Democrats are like, what the H is going on? Our country is completely falling apart. And so I think we're lacking in the excitement. Okay. These are his people. These are his people. These are not right-wing people. These are Democrats that's ready to return him to sender. That address unknown. No such number. No such home. Former DNC chair Howard Dean implied Biden hasn't achieved enough of what he has promised. What about them student loans? We need to have specific examples of how we're dealing with things. It can't be pie in the sky and kumbaya, he said. These his people. These are Democrats returning mail order President Joe Biden to sender. The report concluded with a quote from the DNC member Sheila Huggins, a lawyer from North Carolina. Democrats need fresh, bold leadership for 2024 race. It can't be Biden. Oh, God. Oh, wow. They're returning him to sender. They are returning him to sender. This is the New York Times article. They are not, they're not feeling him. They are not feeling Joe Biden. And so what do? You know, they, you know, they wasn't gone. Now, here we go. We got another article to share because, I mean, it's everywhere. Now, this is from the right wing, and but it's quoting the same article. Okay. but it's out of Fox News. DNC member tells CNN Biden shouldn't run in 2024. Says voters are looking for a change candidate. Democratic National Committee member, DNC member, Steve Simonides, I messed up his name, said Monday night on CNN that the President Biden shouldn't run for re-election because of his low approval ratings and because people are looking for a change candidate in 2024. Sounds like a return to sender to me. CNN's Aaron Burnett noted that he was a supporter of President Biden, but asked why he doesn't believe the president should run for re-election. The member of the DNC praised the president on ghost guns, the infrastructure bill, and efforts in the Ukraine. Okay, whatever. Them prices still high. Okay, people, will they be able to even afford to get gas to go to to vote in November midterms? I mean, gas. You ride by the gas station, you pass by, you come back by 5-10 minutes later, price is up. I never seen nothing like it. The problem is he's not, and his administration is not effectively communicating those wins. Those aren't wins for us. One thing about the gun control thing, it's good that they're doing it. But one thing, unless you deal with a root issue, criminals are not going to follow the law. Okay. Criminals, it's like, they're not following the law. Okay, they're just not. People that want to do wrong, they're not following. That's why they're criminals. I'm just saying. So it is what it is. The infrastructure bill, but it was so full of pork. It didn't. The infrastructure bill didn't do anything for us except for raise our taxes. We pay more. Took us closer to inflation. We're in recession. And he's sending billions of dollars to other nations that have more Bitcoin, like the Ukraine has more Bitcoin than any other nation in the world. But he's sending billions of dollars to them because they, I'm just saying, just saying. Which is part of the reasons we're seeing his approval rating hover in the 30s. No. It's not him not communicating his wins because he ain't got no wins. Okay. The New York Times reported on Saturday that Democrats were concerned with Biden's leadership, and many believe he should be cut loose in 2024. Burnett pressed further, noting comments by David Axelrod that were included in the Times article's headline, "Should Biden run in 2024? Democrat whispers of no start to rise." The presidency is a monstrously taxing job, and the stark reality is the president will be closer to 80 or 90. See, that's the talking point. Watch. That's going to be the talking point from here on out. One of them is he'll be closer to 90 years old than he would be at 80 at the end of his second term. He's old. Will he last? Will he make it? And that would be a major issue. That's what Axelrod said. Okay, we went over this in the other article. I'm going to skip down to here. The Monmouth University poll found in May that just 18% of Americans believe the country is headed in the right direction. Only 18% of Americans believe that the country is headed in the right direction. So now we must look at why it is headed in the wrong direction. 18% Only 18% believe this. That's bad. That's really, really bad. When you only have 18% of the population of all Americans that believe that we're headed in the right direction. It says Burnett also asked the about former President Donald Trump throwing his hat in the ring and the possibility of a repeat of 2020 election. Does that change your view? She asked. He said, no. I mean, no matter who the Republican nominee is, if 16 and 20 are any guide, it's going to wind up being fascist. Our democracy is going to be at stake. The stakes could not be higher. And in that situation, every Democrat should want to put their best nominee forward. Just because we were successful with our plan of action in 2020, things are much different in 2024. You got that right. You got that right. He said that in 2020, candidates could campaign from one location and that 2024 is not something to be is not going to be something candidates can win remotely. See, back to the mail order president. Democrats get ready to return them to sender. That address unknown. No such number. No such home. All right. In this situation, we're going to have an 80-year-old man with the most pressure cooker job on the planet, needing to also full-time run a nationwide campaign, which is a significant ask, he continued. See, they're going back to that age. That's their talking point. Representative Alexandra Cortez, Democrat, New York, joined CNN's Dana Bash on Sunday and was asked if she would support Biden in 2024. The Congresswoman said that she was focused on winning the majority in 2022 and said, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Bash responded, that's not a yes. And she replied, I think we should endorse when we get to it. The New York rep continued, I believe that the president has been doing a very good job so far. And should he run again? I think that I think we'll take a look at it. Okay. So AOC is saying, we'll take a look at it. Yeah. We'll talk about that when we get there. We're not there yet. I'm worried about the midterms. Okay. But we'll talk about that when we get there. CNN political analyst said on Sunday that the chatter amongst Democrats about Biden possibly not running in 2024 weakens his ability to govern. I think two things are true. Number one, if gas wasn't $5 a gallon and inflation wasn't 8.5%, people would be still talking about whether Biden was the strongest person to pit against Trump, which is what this has always been about. Margaret Taylor Vive said to CNN Inside Politics. So like I said, they are getting rid of Joe Biden. They are returning him to sender. That address unknown, no such number, excuse me, no such home. So that is, the agenda for the Democratic Party going forward is to get rid of Joe Biden. And now what we're going to do is we're going to look at this video of him at the AFL-CIO conference and he was speaking there. And of course, nothing is his fault. It's everybody else's fault why things aren't working. So let's listen.
It mattered. It mattered to my working family. It mattered. The price of food went up. The problem is, Republicans in Congress are doing everything they can to stop my plans to bring down costs on ordinary families.
Okay. So now it's the Republicans that's doing everything they can. Let's forget about you sending all that money overseas, billions of dollars. Let's forget about you signing the executive order to stop the gas pipeline and to stop the drilling in Alaska just here recently. Let's forget all about that. But it's the Republicans. It's the Republicans' fault. It ain't my fault. No, not my fault.
That's why my plan is not finished, and why the results aren't finished either.
Okay. According to the Democrats, we just read. Let me get stuff coffee. Your plan is finished, boo. They're returning you to sender. They're returning you.
Jobs are back, but prices are still too high.
Okay, jobs are back. No. There are people quitting in masses, unemployment, but okay. All right.
COVID is down.
How do we know? How do we know? We haven't gotten any numbers in forever. We don't know that that's true.
But gas prices are up. Our work isn't done. But here's the deal. America still has a choice to make. A choice between a government by the few, for the few, or a government for all of us. Democracy.
Boy, bye. Talking about all of us are buying gas. All of us are eating food. So this rhetoric that you spewing that used to work, 10, 20, 30 years ago, it's not working now. It's not working now. So only thing I have to ask you, JoJo, I got to ask you, why you always lying? Okay, let's listen to some more.
All of us, an economy where all of us have a fair shot and a chance to earn our place in the economy. My plan is simple. First, I'm doing everything in my power to blunt Putin's gas price hike.
Okay, we done covered this. We done covered this. This Russia ain't got nothing to do with this. It ain't got, that's just started in January. These prices been going up since last year. Okay, so stop with the nonsense. We know you signed the executive order to stop the pipeline. We know that you just signed the executive order so they cannot drill in Alaska. So stop it. Stop with the foolishness.
Just since he invaded Ukraine, it's gone up $1.74 a gallon because of nothing else but that.
Right. Wrong.
So I have a plan to bring down the cost of gas and food. It's going to take time, but let the world coordinate the largest release.
Okay, it's going to take time. It didn't take that much time for it to go up. So we're supposed to continue to pay. And if salaries not going up, businesses can't even afford to raise salaries now because of inflation. Even if they wanted to raise salaries, they can't afford to because of inflation, because of the recession. But it's going to take time. It didn't take too much time for it to go up. But you the man.
What I've been able to do, the largest release of oil from the global fund in history.
If you would not have stopped the oil, you wouldn't have to be releasing no oil. What's going to happen when that run out? You just putting Band-Aids on stuff.
Million barrels a day. And 240 million barrels to boost global supply.
global supply. Dude, you are not president of the world. You are president of the United States of America. So you need to be concerned about America oil supply, not the world's oil supply.
Keep prices from rising even more. Second, when work bring down gas and food prices, we can save families money in other items. We can change the dynamic of middle-class families. Look, give them a little breathing room, my dad said. You heard me say that before, but imagine what most middle-class and working-class families do is they look at that monthly bill they have and everything, the rent or the mortgage, the cost of maintaining the car.
Here he goes with his parables, telling his stories that doesn't resolve anything. Gas will still be up high tomorrow, and so will food. But he's going to tell us another story about his, his childhood and his dad.
Or the food, everything. So if portions of that go up, one of the ways to deal with inflation for families is bring the other costs down. For example, 200,000 people with type 1 diabetes are paying up to $1,000 a month for insulin.
True. And it should be brought down. And but you said 200,000 people are impacted by that. We need to get something that's going to help everybody. And the cost of medicine is way too high. This should have been done. But you can work hard to do things for other countries, but you can't bring down medical costs for the American people that's suffering. Now that you in trouble, here you go with this same rhetoric that you had when you was running for office. You haven't done anything from the beginning about that, but now you want to do something. It's just like it's just like reparations. You say it, but you're not doing it. It's like it's like forgiving the student loan debt. You say it, but you're not doing it. Okay? You're not doing it, Joe. You're not doing it.
We can make sure they pay no more than $35 a month. By the way, drug companies will still do very well. It costs them $10 to develop that insulin. Making 3.5 times their cost.
Of course, the drug company is going to do very well. You made sure that with these inoculations that the government, that we the taxpayers paid for, the drug companies were doing really well. Thousands and putting thousands percent profit each quarter. You worried about them, buddy?
Gives Medicare the power to negotiate with the pharmaceutical companies, just like the Veterans Administration does.
Negotiate? Anybody can negotiate, but is it going to do? Are they going to bring the drug prices down?
The average cost of prescription drugs is a gigantic way. It really does. It affects the total amount of money you got to write out of that checkbook. Gas is up and food is up, which we're going to get down come hell or high water. But
do we believe that? Do you all believe that? Do you really believe you're going to do that? I'm just saying. I'm asking for free.
There's other things we can do beyond getting the price of insulin down to $35 a month. Imagine the difference it could make. Imagine the difference it could make if, in fact, you had other things that we're proposing. Imagine if you're in a situation where you're going to able to be in a position where pay for preschool for kids.
Okay, we're going to get to this in a minute. You talking about preschool for kids, but we're going to talk about the school situation. Come on now, Joe, because I ain't got all day to listen to this.
4 years old, increasing exponentially their possibility of going out, no matter what kind of family they come from in terms of educational standing. Raise the standard for people. Imagine what we.
Why don't y'all start teaching subjects instead of everything else?
For a child York, the big city, Chicago, cost you $12,000 to $14,000 a month for child care. Well, they shouldn't have to pay
$12,000 to $14,000 a month for child care in the big city. Okay, I don't know. I don't have children. I don't know if that to be accurate, but you know, Joe.
more than 7% of your income for that. We could easily afford to do it. Look, we could do the same thing. But I really mean, think how that would change the families that you represent.
You know, these pie in the sky. You know, this is, we need these results, dude. Results.
Think how the families change the circumstances for working class people. And by the way, you could do the same thing with utility bills. Congress would eat the cost of families today by passing the clean energy investments I proposed.
Okay, here we back to the clean energy bill. Just make sure that the electric companies can reduce their costs. Let's stop with this right here. Just make them reduce their costs because they keep rising too. So let's try that.
Things like tax credit for business to produce cleaner energy, tax cuts for families that make their homes more energy efficient.
This is not going to help y'all. It's not going to help us.
It's the way it would mean a lot more jobs, by the way, for some folks in this room. I met with nearly a dozen of large CEOs of the largest 12 utility companies in America. They said if you pass that tax cut, that tax credit for modernizing the homes, winterizing, et cetera, we will guarantee we'll immediately lower the average cost of energy cost $500 a year for the average family. That'd help a lot. And in the long run, it would help finally make America truly energy independent.
Dude, you need to lower these gas prices and deal with inflation and recession.
So in the future, American families no longer subject to the whims of dictators halfway around the world. We've laid out concrete plans for families to save money, not only prescription drugs and utility bills, but on rent and mortgage costs, high-speed internet. You guys out there are going to be putting in.
Now, how are you going to tell a homeowner or a owner of a property how much they can charge somebody for rent? I mean, these things, rent has gone up. These are things that you should have thought about as you doing your plan. But again, you're spending money like it's out of control. Okay, that's why the Democrats are trying to get rid of you. They're not saying that part, but they're trying to get rid of you, just like we went over before. The Democratic National Committee is saying you should not run again. You don't need to run again. This is what the Democrats are saying.
High speed, and we've already got the money for it, billions of dollars. Well, guess what? When you get it done, it's going to lower the cost of high-speed internet for every family in America by $30 a month.
Okay, so far, let's get this straight. What he's proposed is, lower your bill by $30 a month for the internet, $500. You save $500 a year on electricity. That, dude, we're talking about $40 a month savings, and we supposed to get behind you and rally with you for this. That's why Democrats trying to get rid of you, dude.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, $50 a month is a lot of money. Yeah.
Look, we can do all this. All I'm asking is for the largest corporations and the wealthiest Americans to begin to pay their fair share in taxes.
See, this is the same old game. This is the same old game that politicians play, regardless of what side of the aisle they on. Lower taxes, pay your taxes. You need to pay your fair share. But then when they get in office, they don't do nothing about it. See? What have you done so far, Joe? What you done so far about getting them to pay their fair share? Stop.
I happen to believe that no billionaire should be paying a lower tax rate than a teacher, a firefighter, an electrician, or a cop.
Oh, we'll all agree with that. But what have you done to remedy the problem? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Y'all have all branches of government on lock, but you still haven't done anything. You haven't done it. So this pipe dream that you got here, Joe, you got the votes to get it done, but you're not getting it done.
Republicans have it all backwards.
Okay, that's the Republicans' fault. Here we go. But you all control both branches of the legislation. You control the presidency. So, I'm like, okay, you got all three things on lock, but it's still the Republicans' fault. Okay, stop, boy, stop.
Their plan literally calls for increasing taxes on middle class and working people and cutting taxes on corporations and wealthy Americans.
Yeah, but they're not going to get it passed. So anyway, we're gonna move on past Joe with this because it's pathetic now. Because like I said, he has blamed everyone and everything and everybody but himself. It's everybody's fault, not his fault. And it's their fault. It's not his fault. This is something about this accountability in 2022. No, people just not taking, accountability for themselves and, the actions that they do. I know I'm not perfect, but hey. Now, this last article that we're going to go over is regarding the school lunch program and how Joe Biden plans to stop school lunches if schools don't comply to certain things. So here we go. The Biden administration holding school lunch money hostage to force transgender policy, activist parents say. The Biden administration is using lunch money to hold school districts hostage. The head of the conservative advocacy group said in response to the Department of Agriculture's announcement that it will require certain schools to allow trans students to use the bathroom of their preferred gender. Schools awarded the Food and Drug Service, an agency within the USDA, must specify in their policies that discrimination based on gender identification and sexual orientation is prohibited. The department announced in May. It also said allegations of such discrimination must be investigated. What we're seeing here is really the Biden administration saying, you're going to do what I want or I'm going to take your lunch money. Fight for Schools Executive Director Ian Pryor told Fox News. For the federal government to come in and really tie school nutrition and school lunch programs to this radical ideology is terrifying and it's appalling. FNS administers several nutrition-related programs, including WIC and Supplemental Nutrition Assistance, which is SNAP. It also runs the National School Lunch Program, which provides free lunch for low-income lunches for children on an average of nearly 30 million kids per day. The announcement essentially amounts to the Biden administration holding states and local districts hostage with school lunch money that goes to underprivileged youth in order to pass transgender non-discrimination policies, Pryor told Fox News. The USDA said its announcement is part of President Biden's executive order extending Title IX to include discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identification. Children should be able to learn without worrying about whether they will be denied access to the restroom, locker room, or school sports. the order states. Prior to told Fox News, I honestly have no idea how providing food to children in schools is somehow connected to transgender policies. What we see here is the Biden administration using children as pawns in this social justice gender ideology game that they are playing. The National School Lunch Program, free and reduced meals, help ensure impoverished students receive necessary nutrition. LGBTQ community has historically faced striking economic and social disparities, such as higher rates in poverty, unemployment, and nutrition insecurity. USDA announcement states food insufficiency is 3 times as common among transgender individuals as compared to cisgender individuals. Whether you are grocery shopping, standing in line at the school cafeteria, or picking up food from the food bank, you should be able to do so without fear of discrimination. Okay, so in other words, okay, how much? Okay, it's almost finished. But Pryor said low income students would suffer if funding is withheld from schools, though USDA announcement didn't state what consequences schools would face if they didn't comply. They discuss equity nonstop in the Biden administration, Pryor told Fox News. But in reality, if you want to talk about equity or equal opportunity, the best way to do that is to make sure that every child has the opportunity to succeed. One way to do that is to make sure that they are properly fed, he continued. Pryor also said that the USDA's intended actions is a vast overreach of federal power. It is clear what they are trying to do here, which is a federal takeover of school systems throughout the country based on radical gender ideology, he told Fox News. The USDA is set to formally propose the regulation this month. It will be then it will then be open for public comment for several months before it can be implemented. I think the Biden administration is doing here is going to be subject to significant legal challenges, Pryor said. They are going to find themselves in litigation over these issues for years, perhaps until the end of Biden's term. Neither FNS or the USDA responded to the request for comment. All right, people. So this is the thing. We encourage you to get out here in these streets and vote, not vote, whatever. But it's important for you to understand that the Democrats are trying to send Biden back. They're returning him to sender. They do not want him in 2024. There will be another candidate that they will be putting forth, I'm sure, but it will not be Joe Biden. And if and when you vote, it's important for you to vote what's important to your family. Do not worry about my grandmama voted this way, my daddy voted this way, or this person is better than this person, because they said something or did something. They said something that I didn't like, so I'm not going to vote for them. This is crazy. It's crazy. You got to do research and find out what people actually did. But anyway, remember to like, share, and subscribe, everybody. We love you. Thank you for inviting us into your homes. And you have a very blessed day. Goodbye.